All right. Welcome to our backup copy.
Hey, backup copy. We're not an afterthought. You are a forethought.
You
So feel
see,
good
we're
about
starting this
that.
one first. That's how important you are, viewer who wanted to see this after the live fact. So we apologize for falling out last week, but this is our backup plan. Is we're going to try to upload this Zoom call to either YouTube or Facebook or whatever will have us, so that you can continue to access all this wonderful information we hope to impart today. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, Natalie, anything else before we go and jump onto Instagram?
No, I'm going to go ahead and start our live feed here if I can get myself going. But yeah, we're excited to be here for episode 3, Strength v Cardio. And yeah, it should be a fun chat.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get our live friends going here. Bear with us, backup
Yeah, this
copy.
is the
We
less
love you.
exciting part that we anticipated. That's okay.
Yes. Yes. All right. I'm live. So I'm just waiting for Mr. Rob to show up here.
Should be there. I am on Instagram. I see that you're live. Okay, there we go.
All right.
Yes. Let me get that volume turned down before it messes anything else up.
No, perfect. I think it's good.
Okay, you're a little choppy on the live. That's okay.
Am I? Hi, Brooklyn. Hello,
If you want to
hello.
mute me on the Zoom on your end, I can hear me.
Perfect.
Hey
Oh my
everybody, welcome to the fact that we're doing technological setup.
God. Oh, a backup of the. It's like Inception. I love it. I love it.
We're doing Inception
Hello,
today. That's
guys.
exactly what's happening.
Yes. Perfect. All right,
Welcome to
guys.
our
So
episode
welcome
of
back to
Inception.
Real Talk. Yes. Welcome back. We're so excited to see you guys. Welcome to episode 3. This one's going to last and be recorded. I just know it. Oh,
Yep. And for those
awesome.
who are wondering what we're laughing about, so those who tried to join us a couple weeks ago, thank you, first and foremost.
Yes.
But unfortunately, technology was not on our side that day. And we lost literally the whole episode, minus like the fun and games at the end. So Coach Natalie and I were very
The
proactive.
important
We
part.
decided that we are simultaneously casting this on a Zoom call so that if for any reason we lose our copy, I can download that bad boy to YouTube or Facebook or something, and we'll still have it. All right. So we came more prepared, I think is the best description.
We're doing our darndest. Doing our
Absolutely.
darndest.
Right. All
All
right.
right. Well,
The
it
other
is
goal we have for
2:02.
ourselves, yeah, is to be faster today, is to be more efficient because Zoom has a 40-minute limit and we're already, yeah, well, we're already a few minutes into that. So I think I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah,
So welcome to episode 3. Coach Natalie, thank you as always for hosting me. Hello, Hustle and
of course.
Flow crowd. Hello, any and all who are joining us and getting accustomed to our Sunday thing. We're getting better at this, so welcome to our latest practice. Today, we're going to be tackling more of my wheelhouse. I'm very excited. We're going to be talking about like fitness stuff, like actual workouts, and kind of the basis of how to think through the whys and the hows of the two biggest categories. All right, which is cardio and strength. Okay, so figure we can kind of knock off some stuff from the top, do another top 5 today, and yeah, let's roll into it. So number
Yes,
one, let's start with
please.
cardio. Number one, let's start with cardio. All right, cardio. It's your heart and your lungs. Okay, keep it super simple. Right, don't overthink it. It's very important to have a working heart and lungs. If you can't breathe, you'll die. If your heart stops beating, then you'll die. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Awesome goals. Stay alive. The good number one. Okay. So, really, what I'm looking for as a coach, as we're thinking about cardio training, is practicality and efficiency, right? So, what do you need as an individual to allow you to basically be comfortable in whatever it is that life might throw at you. This might be your daily routine. This might be random outliers, right? I bring up, obviously, you're watching the kids. Kids like to run around and be crazy. Well, you might need to run after them. So you should probably have the ability to breathe like extra hard if you need the extra oxygen to chase your kids, right? You go on vacation, you want to tour an amazing country you've never seen before, right? You'd probably like to be able to walk a lot of miles without getting all breathy and walking upstairs without getting all breathy. Like comfort, right? Like let's just talk about comfort. So super duper easy, right? Is just focus on making things more efficient, okay? Just for the sake of comfort and allowing yourself more opportunities and activity.
I love it. I love it. Um, when you put it like that, right? Like just being prepared for life, it sounds very easy. And it sounds like, I don't know, maybe all I should be doing is walking or running after my kids to just be more prepared for those things happening. But it is also really fun to incorporate other types of cardiovascular training. So what other ones do you recommend, Coach Slobo?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I bring this up all the time when we talk about bests. All right. The best is whatever you'll do. So if you have a good starting point, like just be proud of that first and foremost. Don't start judging like, oh my God, I'm only doing one thing. Like, no, don't worry about it. You're doing one thing, which is better than zero things. Okay. But
Totally.
for the sake of variety, all right, for the sake of cross training and making sure that your body is able to do, a little bit of everything. All right. You want to mix it up. Variety keeps it fresh. Variety keeps it fun. Right. And there's just a whole lot of options out there that you can choose from. So instead of giving you the list now, I'm going to give you the list with number two. All right, which is just mentioning the fact, and this is just a myth that I love to destroy for people, is that cardio is not the complete solution, right? It's not the whole puzzle. It is a small piece that I think, unfortunately, due to just the gym nature, the way that gyms are designed and how they prioritize what you're accessing,
Like 1,000
cardio,
treadmills.
like the 1,000 treadmills or the studios that are only bikes. Like we don't have a
Yeah.
gym, we have a bike studio. It's like, okay, cool. Like you do that thing. And I'm not bashing on the thing, but the bottom line is like, unfortunately, it doesn't offer everything. Right. So,
Right.
I
Right.
think of, we're going to be talking about strength. We're going to talk about stability. Obviously, you need flexibility. You need things like self massage, like foam rolling has gotten super popular in the last decade. All the massage guns that are going around, the Theraguns and such, right, are super popular
Mm-hmm.
right now. That's a part of the puzzle. Proper warm up and cool down for whatever activities you got going on. Rest and recovery. Are you sleeping? Hey, Coach Natalie, are you sleeping? Right, we're working on that. Like,
Yeah, we're working
we're
on
all
it.
working on sleeping. And of course, we talked about nutrition episode one. So hopefully that shows you like, oh wow, there's a lot of factors here. Okay. And
Right.
on top of that, what I always like to point out is that, I think the most common use of cardio is steady state cardio, right? That get on the treadmill, get on the bike for 30 minutes, watch an episode of something, and then, shower and go home. Too many people's gym membership is that carbon copy, right? And unfortunately,
Right.
again, it's just not reaching, the heights you need in order to continue progress. You're going to get stuck. You're going to get into a rut. You're going to start plateauing like crazy, and you're going to bash your head against the wall. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's because your variety is missing, right? If you're
Right.
just doing steady state cardio, you're missing out. Now, if you really love cardio, cool. Do longer endurance. Do faster bouts. Do sprints. I always bring up, especially with my clients as they get older, the only reason we get slow is because we stop practicing being fast. It's really that simple. Like we just don't push ourselves to be as quick anymore. So our bodies over time slow down and our capabilities lessen. It's not what we're looking for. We want longevity here. So I would say,
Right.
just keeping all that in mind, like just keep mixing it up. Just keep mixing it up.
Well, I love that. And so I know like a lot of people come to my classes for yeah, a combination of those things. And I also have a lot of friends that do more cardio based workouts. I'm not going to name names, but cardio focused ones. Um, I guess like outside of those more formal fitness classes, like what are some other ways you can spice up just like your at home cardio routine?
Right? Yeah. Just again, my themes are definitely keep it simple, right? So, hey, you got kids. I bet you had to push them in a stroller at some point. That counts. Like simple
Yep.
stuff like that, or just taking the kids for a walk around the block. If you got a dog like I do, that is an awesome daily reminder to get outside and move your feet. So that's always great. But yeah, you can go trail running and hiking. You can bike at home. You have bikes on the trails or on the roads. You have all the water sports, kayaking and rowing, paddleboarding is on the up and up. You could just be making your way. Again, I said, like, if you're on vacation, you might have to do a lot of stair climbing. That is a very real workout. So that's another one. Another thing I just
Yeah.
read about that's been growing steam recently has been roller skating, or like rollerblading is back,
Oh,
which
yes.
no one told middle
Yes.
school me that it was coming back.
Yes.
That counts. Why wouldn't that count? I mean, you're rolling, you're
Yeah.
getting a little bit of a little assistance from the apparatus, but at the same time, like you're moving your legs in order to go forward. So, yeah,
And I gotta say, like
dancing,
at
right?
home dance parties, that's where my like extracurricular cardio is coming in most recently. My girls love to dance. We dance
Yep.
all the time. I find myself winded occasionally if we've gone for several songs in a row,
Yes,
right? It's great.
exactly.
But yeah,
Exactly.
just building it in a fun, creative way. And we touched on this last time, but having partners in your
Right.
fitness, like making your kids part of your workout, is gonna keep it sustainable as well as like keep you motivated too. So I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Right. Exactly.
All right, shall we move to number
Exactly.
three?
So, on to three. So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit now about strength training. All right. So the first thing I wanted to do with this discussion, all right, especially with my background in training a lot of people on how to move heavy stuff, all right, let's reframe our thinking of what counts as strength training. Okay. I like to think of it as movement competency. Okay. Again, similar to what I was saying with cardio, but now from more of a muscular standpoint, more of a ability to move things or keep things from moving in a very practical aspect, right?
Ooh.
So this could be from workouts, or this can be like your kids trying to run away and you're trying to keep them from going into traffic. Like that's a strength workout. Okay, like that's what I mean. Like, let's reframe what we're thinking about here. It's not just throwing dumbbells and kettlebells around like they're trying to sell you at the gym. All right, it's practical. All right, it's movement
Right.
competency. It's your ability to have confidence that whatever life's going to throw at you, again, whether it's routine or an outlier, that you're going to be as prepared as possible for it. All right. Obviously, Coach
Yeah.
Natalie has some cool examples we like to work on around the farm, right? Like for me, I used to love helping people move. Like that was like my side hustle, was just like, I'm gonna show up in my Subaru and I'm gonna carry all your boxes for you because
Oh, I
I need
love
to
it.
make 25 bucks. You know what I mean? Like it's super simple, but it's practical. It made sense and it was doing a good deed. So all that kind of stuff comes to mind. So that was the way I wanted to start this. All right. The way I want to keep this rolling is the focus points when you're doing this movement competency, right? Because we always get into, oh, what's your max, bro? And like, oh, what's your sets and reps? And like, what's your breakdown program? Like, what's your revolutionary thought? No, just like the thing I bring up the most to my clients, and I do this as I say the word, is posture. All right. Form. All right. Like, are you upright? Is your spine what you're working around? Is your core, as we talk about it, what you're working around? Is it engaged? Is it doing its job? Right. Like, so focus on that. Think about activity consideration, right? Like, perfect example. We're going to be doing a run later this fall. Isn't that right, coach? We got ourselves a half marathon on the calendar. So, yeah, we want to make sure that when we get to that starting line, we're feeling as comfortable as possible that we can get all those 13 miles done without a knee or an ankle going. So, movement
Yeah.
competency. Maybe there's some balance training, some single leg training, all that kind of stuff is what I think about when I'm building up a program for a client. And then, of course, just safety is also, one of those things I just don't want to pass over. Injury history. Hey, if you have a knee replacement, I'm going to have different expectations than someone who hasn't. If you're 45 years old and lived an active life versus a 25-year-old, well, I'm going to come at it very differently because history is going to, absolutely pertain to what we're looking at here. And for setting those expectations that hopefully you meet and you don't, psych yourself out over if we're setting the bar too high. Right. So,
I got looped into that. I got not looped into it. I got sucked into that way of thinking when you and I first started, Rob. Like you started writing programming for me, and I was like, okay, well, you haven't given me a weight to lift. Like, you haven't told me how much I'm supposed to, you told me how much I was supposed to do it and how, what the form looks like, but you didn't tell me how much it was. And I think a lot of us get, you know, in our heads of, yeah, seeing kind of that rolled out thinking of like, oh yeah, you should be lifting X amount of weight. So can you speak a little bit more to that, Rob? Because I
Mhm.
want everybody to go home like knowing the difference between what true strength training is versus maybe what it's like to just go over to the weight rack and pick what feels right today, kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
what can you tell us a little bit more about like what is heavy? What is heavy lifting?
Cool, right? Yeah, let's use those terms. Okay. So I like to think of it in kind of like a trifecta breakdown. Okay. So if we're talking heavy, all right, you can move it 5 or fewer times. All right.
Okay.
That's that load. Asking for more than that without a good, decent restoration. All right, that's what we're looking at when it comes to strength. Okay. That higher ground, when I think more body weight, your warm up routines and just kind of walking the dog or walking the kids and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's endurance. Okay. That's a good way of thinking about that. So even if I'm just picking stuff, I went grocery shopping and I'm putting things up on the shelf. That's endurance, right? I could do that 20 plus times and I'm not going to be, stopping to let my shoulder rest, right? Sometimes you are, all right? And that's that medium ground, all right? And that's what I call the muscle growth, okay, or hypertrophy for those who are a little bit more familiar with muscle synthesis. Okay, bottom line is in that middle ground, and especially once you play around with it, and you're going to have coaches kind of argue what's the perfect number of this and that and the other thing, right? The bottom line is if we can get volume doing that where it's heavier than the endurance side, but not so heavy that we can't lift it more than 5 times, we're in that muscle growth phase. All right,
Okay.
so
Awesome.
really commonly, those are the types of things that, we want to think about when thinking about, again, the results. Okay. So before I get into number 4, which is a great transition, by the way, it's almost like we prepared this. Bottom line is when you are doing this strength stuff, all right, people are going to be like, oh, so to do heavy stuff, I need to go out and buy a barbell and a whole bunch of weights and dumbbells and all that stuff. Like, no,
Again,
yeah,
I feel
looking for those.
100%
So when we
victim to
start
that.
working
Yeah.
together, right, right. Wander your property, check out around the house. Can we fill up bags with books? Can we fill up buckets with water? Can we, use the kitty litter, uh, you know, handled thing, detergent bottle style? Like there's stuff around that weighs stuff. All right, just use that.
Kids,
And then when
your
that comes,
children.
children are very wobbly, wriggly, and very challenging compared to a stationary dumbbell. I'm going to give you that right there.
Yes.
Easy peasy, right? Yeah, use what you
Yes.
got. Okay, simply use what you got. There's a way to make stuff heavier. All right. So if you're worried about that, as I'm talking about it, trust me, you can find stuff around your house that'll meet the bill that you can do, 5 or fewer times. Again, I'm not a big 1 rep max guy. I just want to make sure I throw that out there. The risk reward there, especially with what we're talking about here of overall fitness, it's not really what we're going for. I mean, I've worked with people who, do Olympic lifting and, need to focus on a single big event, like track stars or like a football play or something like that. It's one big explosive thing and then a rest period, right? So yeah, if the training is practical, sure. But for what we're talking about here, I just want to make sure I kind of cover like heavy stuff is like that 3 to 5 range. I think is kind of that magic number if you really want one. All right. So
Awesome.
let's ask the question, Coach Natalie. What is the thing I get from a demographic, if you will, when it comes to, well, what about this?
But if I lift heavy weights, Coach Rob, aren't I gonna get bulky?
You're gonna get
Did I do
super
that
bulky.
good?
You're gonna get huge. You're gonna get huge. All right, no. All right, that's what I want to talk about today. All right, the bulky scare tactic that somehow popped up in my industry all too long ago. All right. Hashtag strong
Yeah.
mom. Hashtag strong woman. All right. Lift heavy stuff. Right. It doesn't make you bulky. Okay. Like I said, what we're talking about here overall is a progression. Okay. And this is really a lot of what I do in particular with my clients is I take the thinking out of it. But let me just kind of give you a basic rundown of what's going on here when I'm working with a client is I want them to build a base of movement competency. Again, going back to number 2. So I want them to memorize these movements, do them a whole bunch of repetitions so that every time they see that on the list of movements, they go, oh yeah, I'm getting better at this. I'm practicing. All right. So I'm doing a whole bunch of reps and I'm getting my form down. Once the form's down, we're making it heavier. Not a lot heavier, just a little heavier. So you can take your base and build a little bit higher. All right. And it's narrowing in a little bit because, oh, yeah, we're making it heavier. So we don't nearly have to worry about as much volume. Okay. I'm going to bring that word back up again a little bit when it comes to the bulky side. Okay. Then, as we're getting towards the end of a phase, as I like to call it, all right, we should be now in the heavy range. Why? Because we have a lot of practice. We've done this move a whole lot of times, hopefully literally hundreds of times if we did it right. So now when I ask you to do it 3 to 5 times with heavy weight, you're going, I got this, coach. Check this out. Look at this weight. Bang, bang, bang. Now we're celebrating these PRs of like, hey, look, now you're moving things you never thought you could move. And like, you know, to say that that's one of the big reasons as to why I do this, to see those celebration moments of like, yeah, you just put in months, weeks minimum, likely months of work to reach this point. Like, let's celebrate it. Like, that is absolutely why we're here. So when it comes to building that progression, all right, there's a lot of science to it. That's where I come in. Again, I'm taking out the guessing and checking. All right. But in terms of the bulking up thing, all right, I want to bring attention to what I said earlier, that middle weight range. It's not so heavy you can only move it a few times, but it's not so light you could pretty much do it infinite times, right? That's our muscle building phase. And with a lot of class structures, with a lot of personal trainers who aren't too experienced and are just, you know, they know traditional bodybuilding methods, which is usually what they're coming from. All right. Yeah, it's muscle growth, it's hypertrophy. It's literally building upon like, hey, let's get a lot of volume, a whole lot of reps, and then we'll add more reps to our lot of reps. And then over time, we'll be able to do even more reps. Well, that's muscle bulk. That's what so many people aren't looking for. And I can't tell you how many horror stories I know of people coming into a gym, getting assigned to a trainer who they were told knew what they were doing. And then next thing you know, even after all their hard work, they're not getting exactly the results they were told because, well, unfortunately, the person they were working with doesn't really understand physiology. So, you know, again, like that's what I like to bring up is we're looking at variety, we're looking at progression. All right. Hopefully this is giving away like the big secret where everybody can just put their extra, you know, extra finances towards the gym that's not doing them any good or the trainer that's been lying to them since day one. All right. And I don't want to be a hater. I've just been in this industry for 20 years and I've seen it. There's a lot of dumb people and a lot of liars and a lot of dumb liars. So unfortunately, let's just prepare for the worst and you'll be that much better off for it, right?
So as he's bashing other trainers, no, just kidding. I kind of want to talk a little bit about like what we do at Hustle and Flow, because in the grand scheme of things, like I know that for most of you, Hustle and Flow is like a bulk of what you do during your week as a workout. But I also know that you guys have a lot of other things that you do at home. You might go to other fitness classes on other days. You might be riding your Peloton bike at home. You might have weights at your house that you're lifting on, you know, with a YouTube channel that you really love. So I know that Hustle and Flow is not the end all be all to work out. What I do pride us on is we do use a lot of diversity and variation in our workouts to give you exposure to a lot of different body parts that we're working. We do a lot of cardiovascular stuff. We do change it up a little bit. We do a lot of endurance kind of lifting with lighter weights. Part of that is practicality, right? Like nobody's rolling up to the park with like their full barbell and like some like 25-pound plates coming out of the car, right? We already do that with like the groceries by the time we get home from class. But yeah, we aren't exploring that kind of threshold of the muscle growth where we are lifting very heavy things for very few reps. So yeah, if Rob, you want to speak to a little bit more about like how you've programmed that in for me in my like off time of Hustle and Flow, I'd love for you to share that a little bit more too.
Sure. Right. And that's going to transition into my number 5, right? Which is just going to be what we're looking at is the overall picture. All right. We don't want to knock any efforts down. All right. But what we're really trying to build is consistency. So what I want to say is, again, super awesome applause to the Hustle and Flow community. You're all rock stars. I already know this, but just in case it needs to be said, you're totally awesome. Because again, we're tackling a huge puzzle piece here, right? You're getting out, you're getting your social health, you're getting outside, which is outdoor health. You're getting cardio training, you're getting some endurance training, you're working on your movement competency, right? We're checking a lot of these boxes here, right? It's one of those, just like, again, don't worry about what you've already done. It's about what can we fill in those blanks to broaden the horizon, to open up all the doors instead of keeping you limited, right? So what I like to bring up again is just that consistency factor. The beauty of what you have going on right now is you've already checked off multiple days of the week, right? A lot of people are starting from scratch. They're doing nothing. All right. So let's first, again, pat on the back, be proud of this moment because you're doing the something. You could be doing nothing, which is almost always easier, but you're doing the something. All right. Awesome. Great starting point. We got our base level that we're working on. That's wonderful, right? All I'm saying is if we're building towards consistency and progress and strength, like these things that we're talking about, right? We just need to mix it up. We need to, focus on, oh, we have a 10-minute warning from Zoom. That was good. I like that. All right. So bottom line is, I don't want to lose my train of thought here. All right. With the consistency factor, what we want to think is, okay, if I'm checking these boxes, how can I check the other boxes on the other days? That's what I want to get at in terms of consistency. So that way you have extra motivation to go, oh, I worked out yesterday, but I did this kind of workout yesterday, so I can do that kind of workout today because I'll be working just different muscle fibers and different movement types. And therefore, I'm not really, I'm not going to be super ridiculously worn out from yesterday because I'm doing something different today with a different focal point. That's the end all be all. That's what we're looking at here, right? Is just how do we get the perfect amount of variety to keep consistency on point. All right. And the reason I bring up variety, right? We talked about all these various methods. I'm sure a bunch of people are like writing down like all these various, things that we're talking about here, right? It's like, I'm going to do all these next week. It's like, yeah, but then we might be losing some of the consistency factor. You won't be able to build on that base because you're mixing it up too much, right? But at the same time, if you're not mixing it up enough, now we're talking about repetitive movement patterns. Now we're talking about, potentially extra sore muscles because they're never getting a break from what you got going on. I mean, shoot, this is like the youth sports like issue that we're dealing with now. So that's another thing for all you moms to think about. Before you sign your kid up to play one sport, 12 months of the year, hey, let them have fun and do some variety. And guess what? The same applies to you. You should mix it up and get some variety so your body doesn't acclimate and get used to what it's doing. It's always striving for that next level. There's nothing wrong with striving for the next level. You can still celebrate what you got going on and where you came from, but why stagnate? Why stay here? We can be a little bit better. Tomorrow can be a little better than today. 1%,
Can you dispel a myth for me, either for or against? Is muscle confusion a thing?
Ooh, it is. I think the word I like to use is bastardized. Yes, but it's not nearly as important as you would make it think. Right? Okay. Like that's just one of those like one of those like strength terms that'll just shove down your throat. Like, I know what I'm talking about. Muscle confusion. I actually have an inside joke with a couple of my clients about this. Anyway, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just giggling at that in my inside brain. But yeah, bottom line is it's a nice idea, right? And it does come down to that variety factor. We don't want to do like the exact same thing all the time because there are some issues that can stem from that. And you'll be missing out on things. That's the other thing I bring up. It's just like, in addition to doing too much of one thing, you're going to be missing out on other things, which, could allow you to do more fun activities and play with your kids in more variety of ways. And, you might pick up a hobby you never thought you'd pick up at this age, but because your body's more capable, you're having fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are the mindset things that I think that really is the focus there. It's just, how can we take advantage of like literally every day and not waste time in the process?
Sure. No, I love that. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to cover number 5 here in terms of, we kind of just did cover number 5, but I just want to like put a big shout out here before people start signing off, because honestly, like I have been in my own hustle and flow bubble for so long that when Rob sort of like reappeared back into my life recently, I was like, oh, this seems so timely, because I don't find our workouts boring because I'm the one that makes them and they're different every single day. But what I have felt is like I don't have the motivation on my own to like plan outside of my own workouts that I write for you guys to plan my own workouts because it's like, oh, I've poured all this energy and effort into thinking about what the hustle and flow community needs. It's a mom brain thing, right? Like take care of everybody else before you take care of yourself. It's just in my DNA at this point after having 3 children. Plus a bonus kid, right? So like I rely so heavily on Rob's programming and his just constant, come on, get it on the calendar, Natalie. To keep me on my off hustle and flow days, keep me going and keep me trying more things like incorporating running for my mental health as well as longevity and planning for races in the future. Having him write workouts for me that help me be stronger at my house where we have a farm and I have to lift animals and food bags and pallets and all kinds of things. So I just want to say thank you to Rob and kudos to him. And like, if you feel like you're missing that element in your life of like another person to encourage you, to cheer you on, to give you the tools to kind of like he said, unlock those different levels of the pie, this is your guy. He's amazing.
Thank you. This is what I do, right? This is my happy place. It's just, I put in my hours to feel confident that I can provide this service to the best of my ability. I continue to work towards it. And so, yeah, this is what I love to do. So Coach Natalie was really awesome in terms of trying to get some people motivated. And hopefully these episodes are helping with that extra motivation. But yeah, I mean, I offer free consults. The first one's always free, as I like to say. So, in terms of kind of filling in your own blanks. Anybody who's still watching this or might catch it on the after view. Yeah, reach out. All right. Send me a DM on Instagram. Send me an email. You can hop on my website, Fitness with Slobo. It's in my profile. Check me out and, fill out a consult form. So we've already gotten one. There are 3 spots available. One is taken. All right. So
yeah, I've got 2 more consultations with Rob that I'm giving you a free class pass for going in and just talking to him. Like, take this conversation up a notch with him. If you have specific questions for him, things that pertain to you, and he's big on like one-on-one conversations. Like, we have a hard time answering some of your questions that you send in on a week-to-week basis because they're about you. They're not about everybody, and he doesn't want to give everyone information that's tailored specifically to one person. So the consult's really your way to get like that exclusive one-on-one access to him, and then build that relationship from there.
Yeah, super easy, super straightforward. We're just going to chat. I'm just going to ask you some questions, and it's super easy because you should know answers about yourself. So there you go. But with that all being said, thank you for those who signed up. All right, rush over to it. There's only 2 more spots left. All right, so do it to it right now. But before we run out of time, we want to make sure we get to our game that managed to sneak through last time. So for those voting, drum roll, please. All right, the lie from last time was that I've never done an Ironman triathlon. That's Coach Natalie. Coach Natalie's done an Ironman triathlon. You crazies? That's so crazy. But yeah, the other 2 are true. I did have to save my brother from a riptide. We both got pulled out into the ocean in Cape May when we were in our younger teenage adolescent years. And unfortunately, we had a boogie board. So I was able to rescue my brother and didn't drown in the process. So that was neat. And the cool part about training Olympic
in beautiful athletes, Cape May, by the way. I love
Cape Training Center. And when you work at the Olympic Training Center, you run into Olympic athletes like Michael Phelps. And you might strategically sit down next to him for breakfast so that you can talk to Michael Phelps. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well,
do that.
Wait, let me turn this up so I can hear you. Of course that happened right then. What happened?
The live video ended, but I am going to make sure it saves because I feel like it didn't like shut down. It's okay. Just see.
Well, hey, back up. We're still here though.
We're still here.
We have 1:30 left on this. Okay, so I'll put in the 2 truths and a lie as you're figuring that out because we have 90 seconds. Okay, so this week's 2 truths and a lie. Let me pull it up. All right. Okay. 1, my parents met in the high school marching band room. Number 2, was that I am a guitar player, having started lessons in middle school. And number three is that I have seen both living Beatles live in concert. That would be Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr. So one, two, or three. One of those is not true. The other two are true. And
What
hopefully
is it
get
gonna
that
be?
posted to Instagram on a quiz. So check it out. We're going to put this on YouTube. I'm so glad we did our backup copy.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. Yes, me too. All right. Thank you, Rob.
See you,
Talk-
Coach.
Bye,
Until
guys.
the next time.